Dear students, I would like to welcome you all in my class of CIS 3158 Mobile Applications and Game Development. We are in week number 7, and in this week our focus will be on Minimax search tree. Minimax search tree is one of the heuristic based searching technique. It is a heuristic based searching technique. In the previous week, that is in week number 6, we discussed what is heuristic based searching techniques. The aim and objectives for week 7 session is given in the next slide. So the overall aim for week 7 is exploring the working of Minimax searching algorithm. So we want to understand how Minimax search algorithm works, and then how we will use Minimax searching for gaming. So this is what we want to understand in this session. So this is the overall aim. So to achieve this aim, I have enlisted 4 different objectives. So the first objective is refactoring of programming code. So in this session, that is in part number 1, this is part number 1 of week 7, and in this part we'll discuss the first objective, that is refactoring of the programming code. Then the second objective, which is given here, is understanding backtracking. So backtracking is the process which we utilize in finding the optimal solution during the game development. So we'll discuss what is backtracking with the help of one example in the next part of the video lecture of week 7, and then I will elaborate the advantage, that is merit of backtracking in game development. The third objective which I have framed here is working of Minimax searching. So after completing these 2 objectives, we will discuss Minimax searching technique in part number 3 of the video lecture. So this objective 1 I will explain in part number 1. Objective 2 I will cover in part number 2 of my video lecture. This I will cover in part number 3 of the video lecture. And finally, I will explain how you will apply heuristic methods for Minimax searching techniques. And then I will brief you about the tutorials. So this explanation of the tutorial is not given as an objective here, but I will explain. So I will start with the first objective, which is given here, refactoring of the programming code. So what is refactoring of the programming code, and what are the benefits of refactoring the code? So code refactoring is the process of restructuring the existing computer programming code. Suppose you have written a program, and in this program you have created a game of 2 players, player 1 and player 2, and what you want, so player 1 is playing this game. This is nothing but tic-tac-toe game. So player 1 is making some mark, then player 2 is making some mark, then player 1 is again doing putting some mark on this interface, then player 2 is making some mark. So player 1 and player 2 are playing this tic-tac-toe game, and a code or program is written for this. What you want as a programmer, you want to change the structure of this programming code. Rather than playing this game between player 1 and player 2, what you want, player 1 will be a human being. On the other hand, player 2 will be a computer. So what exactly you are doing, you are using the code, the behavior is the same, player 1 and player 2 both will play the game. Only the difference is you are restructuring the code in such a manner by which player 1 will be the human being, whereas player 2 will be a computer. So the behavior is not changing, but the code is changing. You are restructuring the code for adding computer as a player. So that is why I have given this first point, process of restructuring. So you are restructuring your programming code to add computer as a player. Changing the factory, so you are changing the code, you are making the change in the code without changing its external behavior. So the behavior of this code will be the same. Player 1 will play, player 2 will play. Take this game, tic-tac-toe game. Only the difference is, rather than keeping human being as a player 2, you are adding computer as a player 2. So this is the basic definition of code refactoring, where you are restructuring the programming code. Behavior will not change, but the structure of the code will change to add additional feature. What are the benefit? Why we apply the concept of code refactoring in the programming code? Because it improves the design. Number one, you can improve the structure of the code by adding computer as a player, or by adding new features in your code. You are improving the structure of the code, the implementation of the software or the program, while preserving its functionality. So functionality of the code will not change, whereas you are improving the software. So here the term software means the code. So you are improving the code without changing the functionality, or by preserving its functionality. So these three are the key benefits we can get by adding the concept of code refactoring in the code, in the programming code. Some more advantage I have given. So it improves the code readability. You can reduce the complexity of the code by adding the concept of code refactoring. You can improve code maintainability. You can clean your code. So if you are cleaning the code, you can save space. Number one, you are cleaning the code, your code will be tuned, your code will be optimized, code will be less complex. So these are some key benefits which we can achieve by adding the features of code refactoring. In the next slide, I have given the example for the tutorial of this week. So code refactoring in your tutorial. So what you are going to do, you are going to use week 3 tutorial, and you are extending the features by adding new, by restructuring the code of week 3. So what you have to update your code without changing the behavior. So in order to achieve this goal, you will take the example of tic-tac-toe game you implemented in week number 3rd. So in week number 3rd, what you did, this is in week number 3rd, and this one is in week number 7, which we are going to implement. So in week number 7, user 1 will be player 1, that is X player, the player who used X sign. Player 2, again a human being who used O as a marker, as a symbol. Here in week number 7, what you are doing, you are extending the feature by applying the concept of code refactoring. So where player 1 will use the cross sign, and player 2 will not be a human being, player 2 will be your computer, and computer will use the O sign or O symbol. So suppose you are playing this game. So I am player 1. So what I will do, I will make cross mark, then I will wait, then computer will make decision, and computer will apply O sign in some block of this tic-tac-toe game. Then again I will make some mark, like suppose I am doing here, then computer will take some time, and then computer, after making the decision, computer will make the move by putting the symbol O. Then again I will make some mark, then computer will make 0, and then like this you can play the game. So by applying code refactoring, all in all, what you have to do, you have to keep two things in mind. Number one, you are changing the structure of your code without changing the behavior of the code, or you can say without changing the functionality, or without changing the functionality. So here you can see the functionality is the same. Player 1 is playing, player 2 is playing. Only the difference is player 2 is replaced by a computer. So this is all about code refactoring. The first task you are going to perform in this week tutorial is code refactoring. So that's all in this part. In part 2 of week 7, I will explain what is backtracking and why it is important for game development. So that's all in this session. Thank you very much.